What's going on, Winning Shot family, man? Listen, it's John here back again with our We're Back series. I told y'all we was going to be locked in, and we're not letting up for sure. So this is going to be the NFL edition. Hundo last night came with some top five things you should know about the WNBA. I wanted y'all to know. I told y'all we was coming back with more episodes. So we're back now with the NFL edition because the NFL is also back. I'm recording this on the 6th of September, so it's a Saturday. So we've already gone through the first actually two games of the NFL season. So I'll give you a brief recap of them, but also what we're going to be talking about is just the overall NFL season, my personal predictions. I got some predictions from the guys as well, what we think is going to happen in the NFL season, who's going to win division, Super Bowl, those kinds of things. But let's go and get right into it so I'm not going to belabor the time too much. All right, bet. So let's get started here. Like I said, we have had two games already in this opening NFL season. The first of which was on Thursday evening versus we had two teams, the defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Headlines and storylines going into that game was recently, as of the past week, right before the game happened, Micah Parsons, who was one of the best players, if not the pretty much he really was the best player on the Cowboys defense, was traded to the Green Bay Packers before the season started. There was a whole offseason dispute between him and Jerry Jones, essentially, when it came to this contract. And the situation came to a head with that trade. He was provided a brand new contract in Green Bay, 4 years, $188 million, making him the most highest paid player, non-quarterback in the history of the NFL, averaging around $47 million a year on that contract in Green Bay. So congratulations to Michael on that. But it left the gaping hole in the Dallas defense, and it was kind of almost a laughing stock for a day or two because it was like, well, what is Dallas going to do on defensively to be able to stop anybody, right? If you know anything about the Dallas defense, like I said, it was ran through Micah Parsons. And so the question coming into that game was what was going to happen. Well, a part of that trade was also Kenny Clark from the Green Bay Packers to Dallas. And so a lot of people, myself included, felt like coming into that game, there would be a lot of speculation and eyes on that Dallas defense against the Philly offense, was once again ended off the season red hot. If you remember the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, they really torched them all night up and down the field with a variety of passing and running plays between Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and of course Jalen Hurts on that tush push, right? And so start of the season coming into this game, we're like, oof, if they end off the season like that, Dallas has no shot to do anything when they've traded Michael Parsons. Well, I'll say this: you know your divisional opponents. I think that's what that game showed us for sure, that you know your divisional opponents. And I say that because honestly, Dallas is a lot better than I thought they would. Offensively, they also traded in for George Pickens early in the offseason as well from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so him and CeeDee Lamb, in addition to, of course, they had Dak Prescott still at quarterback, showed to be a fierce tandem, at least in the first and a little bit of the second half, keeping Dallas in that game. Now, ultimately, they wound up losing the game 24-20. But, honestly, they had a couple shots to win that game at the end of it. CeeDee Lamb dropped some crazy passes at the end of the game that, is really uncharacteristic for him. And so I think it really just kind of showed in a way that, Dallas may not be as bad off as a lot of people, once again, myself included, thought that they would be. So that was, like I said, opening night in the NFL season. And then last night, we had the team that the Eagles played in the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as the Los Angeles Chargers. Shout out to my guy, James Cave, one of the biggest Chargers fans I know. That game was held in Brazil as the NFL continues to increase relations across the nation in various countries, looking to enhance their footprint of football and trying to grow the game, right? And so that game, once again, a divisional game. Coming into that game, I personally picked the Chargers. Of course, you can't. It's hard to bet against the Chiefs and kind of what they've done season over season over season since Patrick Mahomes has taken over. But one thing that I've noticed is that the Chargers are also getting better, but also, they ended off their season kind of sour, right? Jay Herbert had a terrible game against the Texans in that playoff loss where he threw I believe 4 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. And so coming into this game, I'm like, It's a new season, same OC. However, they got some new pieces around, but they've also had some crazy injuries. They lost their starting right tackle. I believe his name was, I think that was Slater, to a season injury, ACL injury. And so coming into the game, we're like, okay, what are they going to be able to do offensively versus that Chiefs team? And honestly, that game really surprised me. Like I said, I had them winning the game, but coming into it, I'm like, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be tough for them to do so. But honestly, they controlled the game for the majority of the game. They really held Patrick Mahomes really down to, let me pull up the stats real quick to show y'all, but he held him down pretty good all night. Now, of course, Patrick had some crazy comeback plays throughout the night. They really couldn't stop him from running the ball at all. He had a lot of rushing yards last evening. But in regards to the passing, I mean, he still had a good night passing. He wound up ending the night with 258 passing yards and a touchdown. He also scrambled, like I said, for 6 carries for 57 yards and another touchdown. And then Hollywood Brown came in, led the team in receiving with 10 catches and 99 yards after Xavier Worthy went down with an injury after a collision with Travis Kelce in the first quarter. So the Chiefs offense definitely, stayed in the game for sure. Of course, Patrick Mahomes made Patrick Mahomes plays to keep those boys in the game. But ultimately, Justin Herbert and his running ability, he had 7 carries for 32 yards. He passed for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the surprise of the night for me, one, obviously, was Keenan Allen was back in LA, so that helped them tremendously. 2 was that Quentin Johnston, who, if you know me, I haven't had any faith in Quentin Johnston. He showed up last night really big time for them. He had 5 catches for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really clutch touchdowns when they needed him. Started off the game with a touchdown, ended the game with a touchdown. So he stepped up, and for them last night, will he be able to continue throughout the season? We'll see. But last night when he needed it, and the team needed it, he stepped up and came through for them. So they wound up winning that game 21-27. Well, that brings us to the rest of week 1, right? We have a huge slate of NFL games coming up tomorrow, Sunday, which will be officially week 1. So I'm gonna highlight some of the bigger matchups I think will take place over the weekend, and I'm gonna give you my prediction on every game for the rest of the weekend for sure, as well. But before we get into all that, I'll probably end off this segment with that. Let's just talk about the overall NFL season. This NFL season is going to be huge. A lot of things have happened over the offseason, like I said, including trades and speculations and all these things like that, all these injuries and things, and of course the draft, and teams have added in players through free agency. And so now we get the opportunity to see training camp is now over. Cuts have been made. Rosters are down to 53 men. And so it's now put up or shut up time. Right, it's time for these young men and grown men and old men, right? Some of them are old men at this point, to show whether they still have it, like an Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, or you showing what you got, right? And we're looking at Cam Ward out in Kansas City, not Kansas City, excuse me, in Nashville, for the Tennessee Titans. And so it's time to say, okay, all the hard work in training camp, all the hard work over the offseason, all the hard work that you put in, sleepless nights, watching film, all the kind of stuff like that. Now it's time to go, right? It really matters now, and it counts for real. It's not just for kicks and giggles anymore like the preseason was. All that stuff is done. So now it's really time to lock in. So with all that being said, like I said, let's get into what my personal division winners will be for the 2025-2026 NFL season. So we have 32 teams. Each team is broken down. We got a plethora of divisions. So I'm going to give y'all each division winner that I think will win this year. Give me 2 seconds. I will pull up my list of stuff. And like I said, I got a whole list of stuff here. So we'll start off and go ahead and give y'all the AFC East first. So that consists of the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Jets. Me personally, I got the Bills winning that division. I don't see anything changing as far as who's the top dog there. Tyreek Hill is back and he's healthy for Miami. But as a whole, I don't necessarily trust Miami as a team just yet. But I also haven't seen the Bills come out just yet. We'll see them tomorrow, and that's one of the games I'll touch on a little bit later on as they play my Baltimore Ravens. And I'll get into that also a little bit later on. But I think throughout the duration of the season, I still have them winning that division easily, actually. I don't know if it's going to be too much more competition that they'll have to face in regards to winning that division. With the AFC North, I believe my Ravens take the AFC North for the 3rd year in a row. Just don't see any competition in regards to offensive or defensively in our division that we can't handle. and overcome. So I really truly see us win that division again, once again, for the third year in a row. I know we've had some struggles with the Bengals and the Steelers over the past couple of years, but I think all of that kind of stuff is behind us. This roster that we have currently is immensely talented. We do have a couple injuries that are lingering, and one that's kind of surprising to me that I will touch on as I go a little bit over Ravens talk a little bit later on. But as a collective, once again, I don't think that the division will be able to stop us from winning the division this year. Let's go to the AFC South. The Titans, the Colts, the Jags, and the Texans. I have the Texans winning that division. I think that CJ Stroud once again comes out. Shout out to DeMeco Ryans. Shout out to that defense, who is really young and uber talented as well, led by a couple guys, Will Anderson Jr., Derek Stingley Jr., young guys who are pretty, household names in the league at this point. So I think CJ Stroud and those boys take care of business and win that division again. I mean, Trevor Lawrence probably has the next best shot, I would say, down in Jacksonville with the team that he has. Interested to really see what Travis Hunter does out in Jacksonville as well this season. I think that Cam Ward has a learning year. I think he's going to have that out in Tennessee, but I don't think they're division ready, winning ready. I'll say that to win at this point. Now, the AFC East is where things get interesting because, the AFC West is where things get interesting because you got the Chargers, you got the Broncos, you got the Raiders, and you got the Chiefs. Based upon last night's game, I would have told you pre-game that the Chiefs are going to win that division. Now they start off with an 0-1 division record. Now, yes, they play the Raiders and the Broncos, but the Broncos are going to also be super tough for them to beat. I think they'll go ahead and sweep the Raiders. I think that'll be easy for them. But I think the Broncos and now the Chargers are one thing giving you trouble. So the question is now who wins that division? Me personally, I think originally when I made this list, I had the Chiefs on there. But now I'm going to change my answer right now on the podcast. I believe that this made James happy. I think the Chargers will win that division, man. I think the Broncos have a crazy defense, but after what I saw last night from the Chargers, man, I think that they in Denver gonna have a super close division race. I think both of them will also get another. I think the Broncos are gonna get a game against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will get a game back against the Chargers next time they play. But in terms of the rest of the division, I think the Chargers can do just enough to win that division. So I'm gonna give the Chargers that division. I'm gonna give the Chargers the AFC West, which would be the first time in probably like 9 years that the Chiefs don't win that division. So that's gonna be very interesting to watch as we push into the playoffs. The NFC East, I got Philly winning the East, which includes Dallas, Washington, and the Giants. Washington is probably been super close to them again. Dallas has played them close, just played Philly close the other night, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to beat them in Dallas either. They couldn't beat them in Philly. I don't think they'll beat them in Dallas either. So I think that will be another easy division to choose for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think in the long term they'll get things worked out. It's just week one for them. The NFC North is another interesting division. We got the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings. JJ McCarthy, brand new quarterback in Minnesota. So what can he do? Can he step up to the test, step up to the plate, and lead that team who won the division last? No, they came second in the division last year. Actually, I'm sorry. Came second in that division last year to the Lions. Can they win it with a rookie quarterback, essentially, because JJ McCarthy was injured the entire last season? And so can he come in and win that division? Or will the Packers, with their newly traded Micah Parsons, be able to kind of step up with Jordan Love and those guys out there and win that division? Or are the Detroit Lions back? They were injury riddled throughout the season last year. They lost a lot of key guys, but a lot of those guys are back. You got Hutch. You got Amon-Ra back. You got Gibbs is still there. You got Goff. And so can those guys do enough to win the division? Or will the last year's number one overall pick, Mr. Caleb Williams, have something to say out in Chicago with that new onslaught of guys like there? Of course, you got DJ Moore out there, and he's a plethora of weapons. They just drafted a tight end this year out of Michigan. I believe his name is Loveman. And so will he be able to come in and add into that team that they already have out there in Chicago? Me personally, I'm taking the Lions win that division. Once again, I think that division probably one of the tougher divisions in football this year in regards of competitiveness. I think they're a lot closer than I think people will give these teams credit for. So I'm going to push and say that the Lions squeak out a division title and head back to the playoffs as the NFC North winner. The NFC South, Another division, Atlanta, the Saints, they're not winning. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The Bucks as well as the Panthers. That division for me comes to, in my personal opinion, a three-way head between Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta. I think that division also will be a little bit closer than people are giving them credit for. I think the Panthers will be a little bit better. They face a Jaguars team tomorrow, so I'll be able to kind of get a gauge of what their season can look like. Tampa Bay and Atlanta actually play each other tomorrow, so that will give me a great gauge of what the division looks like going into this season. But of course, I'm going to pick now. I think that the division winner this year for the NFC South will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, I think that they just have a onslaught of weapons out there. Once again, Baker Mayfield's out there. Mike Evans is still there. He's still doing it at 30 plus, still having 1,000-yard seasons. I think that, Bucky Irvin and those kind of guys are running back, and that O-line and the defense is just going to be a lot to handle in that particular division. Lastly, we have the NFC West. The NFC West consists of the Rams, the Cardinals, the 49ers, as well as the Seahawks. Now, the biggest thing that we just recently learned is that Christian McCaffrey is still not healthy in San Fran. And I was leaning on that heavily as I picked my division winner. And so now knowing that he's not fully healthy kind of throws a wrench in my plans and some skepticism on my mind, because it's like, well, if your best player isn't healthy, what do you do? Right? Who do you turn to? You just paid Brock Purdy all of this money in the offseason. And so this is his first year of his big boy contract. And so can he do it with Ayuk is out, he's hurt in San Fran. The defense is still there, but they had some injuries, so they got some guys coming back. Can it be the same San Fran who was dominant a few years ago? Without all those pieces, you've traded away Debo, he's out in Washington now, and so can they still get it done, or does Seattle step up to the plate with their new quarterback? Right, I believe they got Sam Darnold out there now with Cooper Kupp, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba. They got the defense out there who's still balling under Mike McDonald, and so can they get it done, man? The Mac man, can he get it done out there in Seattle, or will the Cardinals step up? People have been kind of writing the Cardinals off, but Kyler Murray is finally healthy. They got Marvin Harrison Jr., they got James Conner, they got a few guys out there who's making some noise on the defensive side of the ball, and we'll see what that defense can, step up to the place. A lot of young guys out there in the Arizona defense, but can they step up and get something done? Over the Rams, who once again, injury history with Matthew Stafford, he's not fully healthy. He didn't really practice all offseason, right? Training camp, he didn't practice a lot because of a back injury. Can he get the job done? To me personally, because of those injuries, I'm going to give this division to Seattle. If I make this disclaimer in this claim, if Matthew Stafford can somehow get healthy or manage his discomfort in his back and get healthy that way, then I believe the Rams can win that division, because I think they have the best defense in that division currently, and offensively they have a juggernaut as well with Puka Nacua. They got in Devontae Adams, excuse me, my brain, please forgive me, charges to my head, not my heart. They have Devontae Adams, 1-7 out there in LA now. They still have Kyron Williams, and so they have an offense that can do things, and the defense is young. Once again, Jared Verse, one of the defensive player of the year rookie, in his rookie season. He won that award, and so the defense is still there as well. So, it comes down to this. If Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, give me the Rams in that division. If not, I'm taking Seattle. So that's how I'm going to go play that right now. So, like I said, Matthew Stafford healthy, I'm taking the Rams. If he's not healthy, give me the Seahawks. So those will be the division winners. And so as we go into a little bit deeper, let's get to the playoffs here. In regards to, I'm not gonna give y'all really seeding, but in the playoffs, what I think is gonna happen is that the Baltimore Ravens will ultimately wind up being in the Super Bowl, and I think we'll wind up playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I think those boys are just super dominant in the NFC. I think they'll wind up getting back to the Super Bowl and then facing the Ravens. I believe that the Ravens will come out victorious in the Super Bowl this year. I believe we have to get it done. I truly do. I think there's too much on the line. Offensively, we got Lamar, obviously, who I think, once again, should have won MVP last year. I believe he will come back and win his third MVP this year. I believe that he will come and win the Super Bowl MVP this year as well. I think offensively, we got, of course, people counting out a wide receiver core, but we got, Zay, we got Bate, and we just added in Nuke, DeAndre Hopkins. We got a couple young guys. Derrick Henry's still back there running the ball. Keaton Mitchell's back. He's fully healthy. and offensive line is set. A lot of those guys stayed. We lost left guard, but we replaced him with the guy who's already starting last year, Mr. Andrew Voorhees. We got a new kicker, Tyler Luke, but he was kicking pretty good in the preseason. So I'm feeling pretty good about the special teams coming into that. That was a big thing with Justin Tucker and the allegations and all that. We had a whole pod and we talked about that as well. But so now that has been kind of taken care of. We drafted a new kicker. And then defensively, oh my gosh, me personally, and I know that I'm biased because I'm a Ravens fan, but on paper, we have one of the best defenses in football. Starting off with that secondary, who is absolutely elite. Everybody in the secondary is a first-round pick, literally. Malachi Starks, our current first-round pick from this year. The best safety in football, Mr. Kyle Hamilton. We got two top 10 corners in Marlon Humphrey as well as Jair Alexander. We still got Nate Wiggins, who will be a top 10 corner, I believe, by the end of this season. We also have signed in Awuzie, who's out there as well. And so I think secondary-wise, crazy depth, crazy pieces. Linebackers, we got Roquan. He's still there doing his thing, as well as Trent Simpson will be coming in as a starting guy beside him. But also we have a good rotation of guys coming in there as well. Watch out for Jay Higgins this year. Watch out for the rookie Teddy Buchanan out of Cal this year. Undrafted rookie as well, Jay Higgins. He was out of Iowa. Just name a couple guys, man. I think that we are set. I'm not gonna forget the D-line. Can't forget the D-line at all. Watch out for Michael Green this year. Mike Green out of Marshall. The guys laughed at me when we did the mock draft, and I had him going 11 overall in the first round. I think he was a steal for us in the second round. I think we got him at like 50 something. I think he was a steal for us in the second round. I think he's gonna make a lot of noise this year. Of course, we got Owe. We got Metabike. We still got David Ajabo, who needs to kind of make some noise this year for us as well. Of course, we got Van Noy. We got Travis Jones. I mean, defensively, we're stacked. We really are. We're loaded on the defensive side of the ball. And so I think that it's going to get really scary for a lot of teams this year who decide to, test us in any way, shape, or form. So I'm super excited to kind of get into that matchup as well. Let's see what else I want to go over here in this podcast with y'all. Listen, I think it's been a great NFL season. I think we had a great NFL season, as I have already mentioned to y'all. So let's do this. Let's go over week one. I told you I'll give you my predictions for week one, and I'm going to do that. So here we go. Week one, like I said, I know we already had the first two games conclude, but I'm going to go back and retroactively tell y'all. Of course, I had the Eagles winning that first game, and surprisingly, I had the Chargers winning against the Chiefs. So both of those worked out, and I have screenshots to prove that I picked both of those teams prior to coming onto this podcast. I know somebody's going to say, you picking them on the air and they already won. Hey, I picked them before they won, and I got screenshots to prove it with timestamps included. So here we go. These picks have not played, so y'all can't say nothing about, oh, he called that win and da. No, these games have not happened as of tomorrow, and I'm picking winners. 1 o'clock games, I'm taking the Cardinals over the Saints. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Colts. I'm taking injuries to the Patriots. So I'm taking the Raiders over the Patriots. I hate the Steelers. I really do. I know hate's a strong word, but I have a strong disdain towards the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, good guy. The rest of the organization, not a fan of it. They're playing the Jets, though. I don't know what kind of Jets team I'm going to get. But I also don't know what kind of Aaron Rodgers I'm going to get. Give me the Jets. Give me the Jets at home. Let's go Commanders over the Giants. The Giants are bad. Panthers and Jags. This is another interesting game because, like I said, both teams have not been good historically in the past couple of years. There's been a lot going on injury-wise as well as just organization-wise. But I'm going to take – give me the Jags at home, man. Let me get Trevor coming back. Let me see Travis Hunter out there, and I think that defense we can step up. It's gonna be close though. Be close. I think Carolina plays a very good game, very close game. But give me the Jags tomorrow. I'm gonna go Bengals over the Browns. Let me get the Bucks over the Falcons. I got San Fran losing in Seattle. If this is the 4 o'clock window now, I have the Broncos killing the Titans. It's not gonna be close. Ooh. The 425 Lions and Packers game is going to be super good. Start the season with another divisional matchup. Let me go Lions in a close one with the Packers. Let me go Lions in a close one because I don't know. We don't know 100% Micah Parsons is going to play just yet. He's also has a current injury. Last 425 window game will be the Texans and Rams. I'm going to take, once again, Matthew Stafford healthy. I'm taking the Rams at home. I'm going to take the Rams at home in a close one. It'll be closer than people think. The Sunday night game is the one people are really amped up to see, me included, because it includes the Ravens, who are headed back to New York to play the Buffalo Bills. For me, this game is not about revenge. This is a new season, but we need to start off dominant fashion to show that we're not playing this year. We lost end of the season here in New York, so it's fitting that we kind of come back. I saw a video the other day that talked about the past 2 seasons we've gone back to the places, or played the teams rather, that we've lost to in the playoffs, right? The year before we played the Chiefs in the week 1 game, and we had a crazy week 1 game with the Chiefs last year. Almost, won that game, and we got literally lost the game by a shoelace, literally, or a foot being too big, right? So I think we come into Buffalo Sunday and test the secondary. I don't trust the secondary in Buffalo. I think they're already injured. Their first round pick not playing. Tre'Davious White went back to Buffalo from Baltimore. He may not play, or if he does, he's super limited. So I don't know who's in the secondary, but I don't think that they'll be able to keep up with us in the passing game. I know we're missing Isaiah Likely, who's injured coming into who's not going to play. I know we're missing Patrick Ricard, who's not going to play. That was the injury I want to talk about. It may be important in the run game, but passing wise, I think that'll be okay. Derrick Henry's still there because they're going to run the ball a lot. I don't think they'll be able to stop the run either. So I'm going to take Baltimore in that game, in game 1 for sure. And then lastly, the Monday night game, I'm going to take give me the Vikings. Give me the Vikings over the Bears. Monday Night Football. So those are my picks for week 1. That was my predictions. That's what I think is going to happen. Yeah, let's move along here. I got a couple more seconds. I'm not going to keep on here because I'm not on here too long. I want to give y'all the weird back NFL stuff, man. I want to give y'all all the week 1 stuff. And I'm going to come back with the guys after week 1 so we can recap and talk about all that happens tomorrow and Monday over the next week. So any other major storylines I can think of going to this season? Let's see. Like I said, I think the divisions they're pretty stacked. A lot of the teams have kind of gotten better. The ones who are contenders, obviously, everybody's not going to be a contender in this year, and that's what we know. Like Tennessee Titans, not a contender. Cam Ward, I'm interested to see what he does, but I know he's not going to the playoffs. He would shock me if he did. Shock me, really would, but I don't foresee that happening. I want to see Travis Hunter. I want to see Trevor Lawrence get back to, he was in the playoffs 3 years ago, I believe, at this point, in the divisional round. So can he lead them back to maybe a division title this year and shock me there? Can he stay healthy? Can the team stay healthy? Can they put that all together again? What kind of impact does Travis Hunter have? Would he be able to play both sides of the ball? Things like that. Those kind of things intrigue my mind. In Cleveland, what are they going to do at quarterback? Obviously, right now they're starting Joe Flacco, but will he be the season starter, or will they turn to one of the rookies? They kept Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders this year, and so will they allow one of them to get some reps throughout some time in the season if Joe Flacco begins to falter, or they start to lose some games, right? Will they turn to one of them? What happens when I don't know. Can the Bears get it together once again? I think there's a plethora of storylines that we've kind of gone over as we go into this season. I recently put out my top 5 quarterbacks of 2025. If you didn't have an opportunity, please go take a look, but I will go ahead and name them for you now. Honorable mention, I had Jaden Daniels up there. I also had it number 5, I believe. Let me just pull it up. I can tell you exactly what I had with it. That's no problem at all. Excuse me, y'all. All right. So I had Jaden Daniels. I had Joe Burrow at 5. I had Jalen Hurts at 4. I had Josh Allen at 3. I had Patrick Mahomes at 2. And I had Lamar Jackson as the number 1 quarterback headed into this NFL season. I'm going to leave that as is now. I'm going to add an honorable mention. I'm going to add in Justin Herbert on that list. After last night, I think he showed me that this season he could be pretty good. So I'm going to add him as an honorable mentioning as we enter into this 2025 NFL season. And that's going to be the end of the episode. I'm not going to push. I'm not going to drag it. I'm super excited for this NFL season. I know that the guys are Colin and Hundo are super excited about the season as well. So let's have a great season, man. I'm super excited to see this week one games, what happens, all the storylines. I pray for health and prosperity over the guys. I don't want any major injuries to anybody, man. That sucks, man. It takes away from the game, takes away from fans and what they have aspirations for. So I pray for health on all teams because I don't want no excuses either. When teams are like, oh, you only beat us because X, Y, and Z. No, 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 no. I want all teams at full strength and full health so we're able to have the best season possible and the right team can be crowned champion at the end of this year. So once again, welcome back. We are the Winning Shot Podcast. Thank y'all for the support, the love, the appreciation, all that y'all do, the reposts. I see all the comments on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I see all the comments everywhere that we post on our platforms. And so we thank y'all for all of it because it helps us to not only to stay sharp, but to make sure we're bringing y'all the best content that we can. I'm here at the Winning Shot Podcast. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And we cannot wait. The NFL season has already commenced, so we can't wait to come back and talk about what will transpire over the coming days. So feel free, kick your feet up, enjoy yourself, watch some good football over today with college as well as the NFL, which will be tomorrow, man. It's the best time of the year. We have football from now till February of 2026, and so let's enjoy it, enjoy the ride. Hopefully your emotions are all over the place. I pray that mine are not in Baltimore. Ravens, please don't let me down. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so sad. But let's lock in. Let's have a great season, and I can't wait to continue on the episode with y'all guys as we continue on to talk about the NFL season. I'm gonna catch y'all at the next appointed time. Peace.